living sober, busy living sober, busy living sober. Hi, everybody. Happy December 6th. I'm recording this on the 3rd, on the 5th, and it's coming out tomorrow, Wednesday. I just wanted to say hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And today's topic is I cannot control the behavior, only my reaction. Only my reaction. So it's really crazy. It's been a crazy year, as you guys all know. And I've gone through some hard times and I've been really transparent with you guys about what's been going on with my marriage, with my eldest son, not talking. And it's all about my reaction to everything. And I can tell you some really good news that I'm on the other side, especially with the marriage thing. We've worked together. We are continuing to work together as husband and wife to make life better. And I'm being more in the moment. Does that make sense to you guys out there? Being in the moments, like realizing that each day I have to take ownership of how I react and what I say, what I do, and where God, my higher power, the divine is in your life each and every moment of each day. And right now, we're in a crazy time of year. There's crazy things going on in the world, things that don't make sense to us, especially here in America. We're like, wait a minute, 2 + 2 used to equal 4, and it's not equaling 4 right now. We're seeing things that make us feel uncomfortable. And feeling that I get a lot of times is fear. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? We've got to do something about it. I've got to say something about it, which I have done in some circumstances that I see something that's really like, and it makes me react. And I have to watch how I react. And I know people around us, family members, friends, say things and do things that make us go to these places that are like back. And it's not really a healthy way that I want to be anymore. I don't know if you agree, but I don't want to be like that anymore. And recently I've been, showing respect to people. And even if they don't believe the same things I do, even if they aren't necessarily on the same wavelength, and maybe politically it's different than the way I believe, but respecting that person and willing to listen. I feel like there's no more listening. I made a huge decision this week. I was watching The Housewives, reality TV, and the Kardashians and all of that stuff. And I was watching these things with a different set of glasses and knowing that I was watching these things because I wanted to get lost in my life. I wanted to be able to be, it's kind of like being an ambulance chaser, right? I wanted to watch something that would take me out of myself and I could see something that was so negative and scary and things that are said in these television shows that just you're just, at least for me, I was constantly like, oh my God, did they just say that? And I've decided I don't want that in my life anymore. I don't want to be watching things that take me away from myself, that make me react, that I am put me into a place of judging, put me in a place of me being bigger and them being smaller and all these things. I think that for me, I like deleted it all from my DVR. I was like, enough. I don't want to watch this stuff anymore. It's not healthy. I don't want to watch women screaming at each other. Women aren't nice to each other. We already know that. And these shows just perpetrate that. They keep just showing it over and making it okay to scream at people and making it okay to use alcohol as the thing that's as our numbing agent, and using alcohol as the way to let's get wasted and let's do this and let's say things that are inappropriate. Let's go do behaviors that aren't good. Right. And I don't mean to say what's good or what's bad, but like not really going out there and showing all this stuff to the world. When I have had these tough times with my husband and realized the things that were going on that made me fearful. That's what it was. It made me fearful that I wasn't going to be able to keep what I had, or I wasn't going to get what I wanted. And that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, what really matters is love, right? It's just love, and loving ourselves is where it begins. And for me personally, like loving myself authentically and really being who I am has taken a lot of time, a lot of time. And I can fake it for a long time, but to really feel it authentically in my heart, not only in my head, but in my heart, like that long trip it is from our heads to our hearts, getting to this place that I am like, I love me. And because I love myself, I don't want to hurt anybody else. I don't want, that old saying, hurt people, hurt people. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to hurt. I want to love. I want to give light. I want to give acceptance. I want to give people space where they can be who they need to be and what they want to be and express those truths. And maybe, if anything, show them some light and realize that it isn't so big and bad. It's actually good. We live in this beautiful country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to the South. This country is amazing. And the people in this country are absolutely beautiful, right? So many people have amazing stories. That's what I've always wanted to do since I was a little girl, was talk to people and hear their stories. How are they getting through life? How are they doing life with all these crazy things that go on? How do we stay on our path? How do we manage with all this noise, with the social media, with the reality TV, with all of it? And for me, I'm going to put all that noise at bay. I don't need to pick anything up to numb myself, including watching these shows, which were numbers. They were numbers for me because I'd go and I'd put myself in this place of Judge Judy, right? Like, they're bad, they're good, they're bad, they're good. But what I was watching was just negative, yucky behavior, stuff that was all about material items that don't matter at the end of the day. Family members, not my family, but one of my siblings lost a brother-in-law, and didn't wake up. He just went to sleep and didn't wake up the next day. And he was young, not even 60 yet. And, it puts things into perspective. And we don't think it's going to happen to us right now, but we don't know. We don't know when God's going to say it's time for you to go. We have no idea. So being able to live our lives in this place of, do we want to react with kindness, or do we want to react with anger? Do we want to be throwing jabs at people, or do we want to embrace them with love? And it's really funny. I'm going to give you an example. The other day, I was walking my dogs and I was not really paying attention to where I was. Just to be honest, I walked down the middle of my street. I live on this residential street. There's a 2-lane road that's a little bit busier off of my street. But I was walking and this gentleman beeps his horn at me and he pulls up and he's like, "Do you think you own," like in a very nasty, mean way, was like, "Do you think you own the road?" And I said, "I'm really sorry. I just was in my walking my dogs, just having joy, looking around at what was around me, and I wasn't really paying attention." And he's like, "Well, you couldn't do this," and just was nasty, just a nasty, angry person. And I just turned to him and I just said, "Merry Christmas." And he drove off in a huff. And wow, I just tried to send him light, and not trying to be condescending here or to trying to raise myself up bigger than him by any stretch of the imagination. I just wanted to point out, like, it's okay. I was just walking my dogs. I'm sorry. I could have moved over. I moved over. You can get by now. But to get so angry, and we live in such a reactionary time right now that everybody reacts, and we react in a way that if you think about it, especially when I was growing up. I was born in 1968. I tell you guys this all the time. So I'm 55. And when I was growing up, there was this definite respect for elders. There was respect for others, just as your neighbors, just as your community members. You would just be kind because that's how you wanted to be. I heard somewhere, I just watched something actually that said that we're not as, this country was built so that you could have whatever you believed in and it was okay. And we were going to respect each other. And that's dissipated. And now it's just a free for all. And there's no like, oh, okay, you get to be who you want to be and I get to be who I want to be and it's okay. Instead of now it's all like, no, you can't be who you want to be. You have to be what I believe, or you're a racist, or you're a horrible person, or you're this, or you're that. Like, enough. Okay. Enough. Perpetuating this anger, this sadness, this bitterness, this darkness. It's time to bring up the light in each other. It's time to be loving. It's time to open our hearts. It's time to put all this other stuff aside and say, at our core, what do we care about? What do we care about? Love. We care about love. It goes back to, this time of year, it's like, you can put on all these amazing movies, which I love and so much. I can't wait for my daughter to come home because we watch all of them together and I kind of hold them off for her. But some of them I've started to watch and I cry at every one of them. I was talking to one of my dear friends who lives a couple blocks away, and she's like, I'm just sitting here watching Christmas movies because they're so weepy and sappy and I love them. And they bring back what humanity is. It's love, it's kindness, it's coming together this time of the year and giving people hugs and saying Merry Christmas and giving of ourselves. When I was drinking, I always say that my soul was kind of like a an old stained glass mirror filled with soot, and I had such anger and such fear of being who I was as a human. I made choices that weren't easy at the end of the day. Looking back now, of course, hindsight is 2020, right? And learning the way I reacted to things was truly out of fear, was truly out of the fact that I was sad and I was scared. So I bit with words and with closing myself off and not getting people out of my life and saying, no, you're not in my life anymore. I'm putting you over here and I'm putting you over there and I'm putting you over there. And there was no respect for these people, for my family. I feel like we're all, again, walking on this earth, and now there's challenges that we've never been, they've never been brought to the forefront before now. Challenges in politics, challenges in how people are doing things that we might not agree with. Like, I don't agree with all this stuff that's going on. So I have started to put stuff out there and people are like, you're putting that out there? I can't believe you're putting that out there. You can't put that out there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can. I'm going to be me. And I'm not doing it in a judgmental way, but I'm just saying that might not be the healthiest behavior. There is something called history. There is something from learning from elders that have been on this planet longer than us, that are wise and that have seen things that we can learn from, right? I have friends that are older than me that I would die if they weren't in my life because I look to them all the time. I'm like, what was it like back then? What was it like when you were growing up in the 60s and the 50s? What was that like? World War II ended, what, in 1945, I think. And there was the Depression, and there's still people around that lived through those times. And we can learn from that. We don't have to shut the door on it. We need to learn from like what other people did and how they got through life. Now it's like we have this social media and you put stuff out there and everybody takes it as the word of the Lord. And I was listening to this Matt Rife, and I just found him through, on YouTube, because that's where I mainly am going now to watch stuff. I just like to go to YouTube. I like to watch things that I like, and I put stuff in. He came through on a reel, and I listened to him on Jordan Peterson, one of my favorite podcasters. He's amazing. He's a psychiatrist from Canada. And, Matt Rife was like, all these people say they don't like what they get upset by what I say. And he goes, but why do they care if they don't like what I say? He's like, does that matter? And I started to think about it. I'm like, that's so true. We all have things we like and things we don't like. I do not like Metallica. Sorry, I don't. I don't find Ozzy Osbourne and all that headbanger music. I've never found it appealing. I also don't find the Grateful Dead that appealing, just to be completely honest with you. I'm not a Deadhead. I was taken to a Dead show with my best friend Jeannie and a brother trip years ago when we were in college in the 90s. I was like, what am I doing here? I hate the smell of patchouli. Now, does that make me bad? I don't like patchouli. I didn't really like smoking weed. I didn't do drugs really. So that was not my thing. I don't find enjoyment in that. Now, you put on Michael Jackson or you give me Madonna from the early Madonna. Um, Loved it, danced to it all the time. I love Frank Sinatra music. I love going back to the old times where it's just like it's all it is pretty much love ballads if you think about it, and it brings me joy. So I wouldn't go and put on the Metallica station in my car if I didn't like it. Now, if you like Metallica and you're like Frank Sinatra, I can't stand it. That's good. You do you, boo. And I get to do me. But I don't judge you for like Metallica. That's cool. You like Metallica? Cool. You like the Grateful Dead? Cool. That's like my best friend adores the Grateful Dead. I'm still her best friend. I will always be her best friend for the rest of my life, I hope. Um, we have gone through times where we talk all the time and times where we don't talk, but she's always my best friend. And I've always said, you do you, you like that. She just went to a Cure concert with me. I love that. And you might be like, I hate the Cure, but does that make me bad? I believe in Christianity. I am Christian. It works for me. I was raised Catholic. I raised my kids Episcopalian. I like the ceremony of being who I am. I embrace who I am. I don't think I have to be ashamed of that. I don't know when that happened, that we can't own who we are and say, this is what works for me. If it doesn't work for you, that's cool. And if you don't like it, you don't have to come to my house. It's fine. You don't have to listen to my podcast. You don't have to like what I say. A lot of people don't. Does it matter? No. Am I going to apologize for being who I am? No. Now, my reaction, though, to you hopefully would not be one of violence, of hate, of hurt. I'm going to do what I find important for me. And you can own that or you don't have to own it. That's up to you. I don't want to hurt you, but if you don't like it, turn it off. But that doesn't mean you boycott it. It's like, okay, but they can go do what they're going to do and respect it. Candace Owens said something really funny recently, and she was like, if you don't like what I say, like put a helmet on. I mean, it's like, when do we get to this place that we can't own who we are and be respectful? That doesn't mean that I have to hide who I am. I believe in the light. I believe in sharing the light. I don't want to share darkness. I understand darkness likes to share darkness and wants everybody to be dark. But I'm saying, no, 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 no. You want to be dark? Go be dark. But if you want to come and see the light, I can help you see the light. I can help you see the light. I can help you react in a way that isn't hurtful, that isn't hurting, that is kind. When we're in our darkness, we're pained. When I was drinking so much, I was so in pain. And it has taken me, 17 years to get to this place where I can say, I own it. I'm loud, I'm boisterous, I'm opinionated, I love big. I love really big. I don't like dark. I don't like going to funerals. I'm just going to tell you that. I don't like going to funerals because it makes me so sad. It just makes me sad. It's my thing. Um, I just don't. I understand that some people go and it's cool for you, but I'm like, I mean, one of my good friends is like, I know you hate going to funerals. I'm like, I do. I just don't like it. I know in my heart, I believe that when somebody passes, they go to some place that's better than this. And that can be my ideology and that can be my thing. I mean, I like to believe in like Tinkerbell, all those pretty fun things like rainbows and all those things. I love that stuff. and unicorns. I love all that pretty stuff. And I want to focus on the pretty and not on the dark. I know there's darkness everywhere. We all do. And we all try our best to help others that are going through dark times, right? We open our doors and we donate to certain things and we give back in certain ways. But if I would love for people to realize, like, we all need to give back, even if you have nothing. And if you have nothing to give back and just say thank you or say hi to somebody and give somebody a smile, our reaction is everything. It's how we start our day. How are we going to react? Some of us, at least for me, for a long time, I was waking up really in a dark way. I'd always wake up just angry and hateful and mean and in this way that was just like on a reaction that was like negative. It was always a negative because, again, that fear was so big. And I had to change. And changing is hard, right? Especially if we've been doing the same thing for a long time and we've gotten enough to make it that we're stable. But getting to this place that I'm like, I want to change. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do to change? How am I going to change? What am I going to change? And it has to be very little, because when we do something that's so big, it sets us up for failure. At least I believe that. This is, again, my opinion. Like, if we set this thing up for that's so big, we can't really change it because it's too big. So it has to be something small. Waking up in the morning, walk outside with your cup of coffee before you start your day. Look up at the sun with your warm Ugg slippers, with your warm woolly robe, and say, thank you. God, please be with me today as I'm on my journey. Please let me have sunshine today in my heart. Let me share light today. Let me get into a place of gratitude. Let me be in a place where I am grateful instead of hateful. Let me be in a place that I might say hi to somebody today that needed a hi, that I give somebody a hug today, that I pick up the phone and I call somebody, as hard as it is to say, I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just gives life so much more meaning. It's not that scary. I promise you. I know for a long time, I had so many people that I was like, and it's changing. I'm changing. I'm evolving. We all need to evolve to this place where there's more kindness. Enough drama, enough hate, enough war. God bless America. Enough, enough ridiculing our neighbor. It's time to pull. I don't know if it takes more energy or not, but to be kind, to be loving. Oh my gosh, I just totally did a sped. Sorry. To be in this place that we're like, I'm sorry. I love you. We're in this together. Let's come together. Let's come together. Let's bring each other joy. Let's bring each other love. Let's bring each other happiness. It's like the best time of the year to do it. We have a new year coming up. It's 2024. So I'm already saying this at the beginning of December. I'm trying to say to you guys, what can you change? What do you want to change in your life this year? What way do you want to react right now? You can't control someone else's behavior. All you can do is control yours. How are you going to react? Are you going to react with a smile? Are you going to be like, I hear you? This is what I hear. It might be different than the way you hear. Is that okay? It's okay. I respect you. I respect where you are. But this is the way I see. And maybe taking 10 minutes or a day and say, let me sleep on this. Let me think about it. Let me let that come into me. Is it hurting me? Is your beliefs hurting me? Or is it okay to say you have your beliefs? You have your beliefs. I don't agree, but I still love you. That's what it comes to, right? That's what it comes to. I am Christian. I am conservative. That's just who I am. And I embrace that about myself. I embrace owning who I am. I want to share with you why I believe the way I believe, why I believe what I believe. And you might be able to say, oh my gosh, I hear you. I kind of believe that too. We don't need to destroy people, do we? Because they're different? Because they're passionate about something? I don't think so. I think we got to be like, we're navigating this thing called life together. 2024 with Busy Living Sober is going to be so exciting. I'm going to tell you more and more and more about it as it gets closer. I'm on the next 3 Wednesdays. You just got me. You don't have any guests. It's just me. Next week, next Wednesday is my 400th episode. Okay, you guys, 400 episode. Reach out to me. If you have questions for me, if you have comments for me, send me those comments. Send me those questions you want me to talk about next week. Next week is going to be it's an AMA. Let's get out there. Let's talk. What do you have questions for me about? You know, I have so many people that are out there right now that want to start podcasts. They're reaching out to me. They're like, how did you do it? I'm like, this is what you do. You want to do something new in 2024? I support you. If I can help you in any way doing what you want to do to be passionate about what you want to be passionate about, if I can help you get to that place, let me know. If you have a question for me, like, how did you get sober? How do you manage being a stepmom? How do you manage being, which I don't even have a relationship with my stepkids. I'm just telling you that honestly, that's their choice and that's okay. I'm not going to force my will, but I've made through, it's not all pretty stuff, but knowing that you're not alone going through these things, going through times when money is really hard. How are you doing it? How are you doing it with the fear is so overwhelming. You're like, I can't get this. I can't get that. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. They're taking away my things I want. You're going to be able to make it through this. If you keep enduring and you keep trusting in this thing that's bigger than you, that you can't touch and you can't feel, you can manage anything you want. It just takes time. Time takes time. Feelings don't stay the same. Right? Families don't stay the same. I thought forever my kids were going to be little and they'd be in my home. Little did I know that it sped by so fast and now they're adults and they're doing their life. And I'm having to learn how to be a different mom to adults. I'm not, now that we're like level, I'm not telling them what to do. I already did that when they were babies. And I can't control someone else's behavior. All I can do is control my own. And when I screw up, I can say, I'm sorry. And I hope that the person that's out there says, you know what, I hear you and I accept your apology. You know, we all have these big egos. And I love how my 12-step program describes an ego, which is easing God out. It's making me bigger than everybody else. No one's bigger. None of these presidents are bigger. They're all just trying. They're all just trying to make a better world for us. I hope. I hope it isn't darkness because I believe there's good to be had. And I think that if we come together as a group and say, this is what's important, not all the rest of this stupid noise stuff, what really is important. And we're going to talk about these things going forward in 2024, things that are important to me. I'm hoping that I can get maybe some candidates that are running for president, get them on here and talk to them about what's important to me and what I think is important. As a mom, as a wife, as an American citizen. I want things to be important. I want to be heard just like you do. And you deserve to be heard. We all deserve to be heard. It's when this country was founded. It was like, we get a voice. We pay taxes. We count. We count. Stop thinking that you don't. Stop thinking that the noise is more important and what these outfits mean and all the rest of this bullshit. Who cares what the Kardashians do? They're so dark. They're like, ugh, everything is about me, 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 me. We got to be more like we. No more me, we. We need to come together. We need to react together. We need to learn how to react in a way that's loving and kind and not hate. There's enough hate. There's enough dark. We've got enough to go around the world for many, many, many times. It's time to say enough dark. Let's have some light. Let's have some joy. Let's have some love. Okay. How are you going to react differently? I'm turning all that stuff off my TV. No more recordings, no more watching that. I want to bring in light. I want to hear music that makes me happy. I don't want darkness. It is scary. There are scary things, but getting together with one another in a loving way is so much more important. We give off these somebody said hormones or pheromones or something, and I'm probably saying this wrong. But when we're together and we give a hug, it feels amazing. It feels like you brought up just giving a hug. Somebody said that it's like so healthy if you get a certain number of hugs in your life. And it's enough doing the evil eye and going anger, judgment, especially women to women. Like we should be like raising each other up here, ladies. We need to raise each other up. We need to come together. And that doesn't mean that we have to put down men. Hell, we need men. Even though we do make sure that they have an okay life. Let's just face it, behind every great guy is a better woman. Let's just face that. I mean, I know that's the truth. Going to this place that we are women and, we need to love each other and not judge each other. I know we get dressed for other women, not for men, because they could care less, but it's more like being loving and kind to one another and saying, I'm here. I hear you. I love you. I hear you. I respect you. Let's respect each other. Let's show our children respect to one another, respect to our neighbors, kindness to our neighbors. I'm just going to end with this. I watched this commercial. I don't even know how how it got on there, and I don't know if it was it's some commercial. And this woman's talking to her friend, and she said, "Well, come over and watch the game." And the little girl goes, "Mom, you said you didn't want to watch the game with her because she talks too much." And the whole commercial was like ridiculing this mom because she talked to her daughter in a way that instead of saying to your neighbor, you know what, I love you, but you talk too much. I can tell you this. I have friends that I used to golf with, and they're like, you talk too much. You talk too much on the golf course. I do. I talk too much on the golf course. I love to talk. I'm going to own that. It's okay. It's what I like to do. I'm never winning a green jacket. It's okay. I'm not winning anything. I love being outside and shooting this little ball into this little hole all over this big, big area of outdoors. And I find joy in it. And I don't want to sit there and just concentrate on whatever. And that's for me. If you want to do the way you do it, you do you, boo boo. And that's okay too. I'm not going to rain on your parade that you want to have a serious game. I'm not serious. I don't want to be serious about anything like that. I don't really want to be serious about anything, to be completely honest. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy life. I want to bring the light back. I want to have joy. It's been enough. I'm ready to turn it off. I'm ready to react and smiling and happy. And I want to spread that to you. And if you're out there, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Please subscribe to my channels. If you liked it, share it with your friend. Please, I would love it. And till next time, keep getting busy living sober, because being sober is about being, for me, light. I've already been in the dark. No more dark. Time to get light. Time for some love. Time for some compassion. Time for some listening and not judging. And just knowing that you're on a good path and that you love yourself. That's what it's all about, right? Because if you love yourself, you can love everybody else. And finding what that is inside of you that's hooking you up. What is that blockage that's in you that's not letting the light shine? Figure it out. I can help you if you want me to. You can always reach me at Elizabeth, ELIZABETH, at elizabethchance.com. And until next time, I do have a fun guest coming on Monday. I do have a guest Monday, but next Wednesday, any questions, reach out to me, subscribe to my channel, reach out to me, send me a note. Have any questions, let me know. And until next time, again, keep getting busy, living sober. Bye, everybody. Take care.